before dinosaurs walked the earth, before trees covered the land, before humans ever looked at the ocean and wondered what was moving beneath them. Sharks were already there. That may be the most frightening thing about them. Not just the teeth, not just the fin cutting through the water, not even the old sailor stories about dark shapes circling beneath wooden boats. Sharks feel terrifying because they are older than fear itself. For thousands of years, humans have told stories about creatures in the deep, sea monsters, giant fish, shadows beneath ships. Sailors feared the open ocean because it was one of the few places on Earth where a person could disappear completely, leaving nothing behind but broken wood, empty water, and imagination. Then Jaws gave that old fear a shape. One fin, one beach, one shadow beneath the surface. Suddenly, an animal that almost never hunts humans became the creature millions of people imagined every time they stepped into the sea. But the real shark story is much stranger than a monster story. Sharks are not frightening because they are evil. They are frightening because they belong to a world where humans are weak, slow, and almost blind. They are built for a place we can only visit, and they have survived in that place for more than 400 million years. How does an animal survive before the dinosaurs, through the dinosaurs, after the asteroid, through the rise and fall of giant ocean predators, through ice ages, changing seas, and eventually humans, and why do we still fear a creature that rarely comes for us at all? To understand that fear, you have to go back to a world before almost everything familiar existed. Life began in the oceans billions of years before humans existed. Long before animals walked on land, the sea was already where evolution was experimenting with survival. By around 400 million years ago, early fish moved through warm, shallow seas. Strange animals filled the water, and the fight between predator and prey was already underway. Some creatures survived by becoming harder to eat. Armored animals crawled along the bottom. Shells, plates, and heavy defenses helped protect them from whatever could bite, crush, or swallow them. Sharks moved in the opposite direction. They did not become tanks, they became blades. Instead of heavy bone, sharks built their bodies around cartilage. Lighter, flexible, and easier to move through water. That made them efficient swimmers in a world where every wasted movement cost energy. But their most important weapon may have been their teeth. A shark's teeth are not fixed in place like human teeth. They grow in rows, almost like a moving belt inside the mouth. When one tooth breaks, falls out, or gets worn down, another can move forward to replace it. A predator that depends on biting cannot afford to lose its bite. For many animals, a broken tooth can mean infection, starvation, or death. Sharks evolved a mouth that could keep repairing itself. Bite after bite, hunt after hunt, generation after generation, the first sharks were not perfect, and many early shark relatives vanished. But the basic idea worked. A flexible body, replaceable teeth, and senses tuned to life hidden in the water. And when the age of dinosaurs arrived, that design entered a much more crowded ocean. By the time dinosaurs ruled the land, sharks were already hundreds of millions of years old. But the oceans did not belong to them. The seas had their own monsters. Ichthyosaurs moved through the water with bodies shaped like dolphins. Plesiosaurs stretched long necks through prehistoric seas. Later, mosasaurs became some of the most terrifying predators the ocean had ever produced. These were not dinosaurs, but they lived during the age of dinosaurs. And for millions of years, they turned the oceans into a dangerous place for almost anything smaller than themselves. That included sharks. A shark in those seas was not swimming through an empty blue world. It was sharing the water with reptiles that could be longer than a bus, armed with jaws powerful enough to tear through large prey. Some sharks were hunters, some were scavengers, some chased smaller fish. Some fed near reefs, coastlines, and seafloors, and that variety mattered because the ocean was not one battlefield, it was many. A giant marine reptile might dominate open water, but it could not control every reef, every shallow coast, every muddy bottom, every school of fish, or every carcass sinking through the sea. Sharks kept finding room to live in the spaces those giants could not control. They did not need to challenge the biggest animals in the ocean. They needed to feed around them, beneath them, beside them, after them. If a giant reptile made a kill, smaller sharks could scavenge what was left. If fish gathered near a reef, sharks could hunt there. If the open ocean became too dangerous, some sharks could survive closer to the bottom or along the coast. For millions of years, sharks lived beside predators that looked more impressive, more powerful, and more dominant. Then the sky caught fire. Around 66 million years ago, an asteroid struck Earth. The dinosaurs vanished from the land. In the ocean, the great marine reptiles vanished with them. Mosasaurs, plesiosaurs, and many of the sea's dominant predators were gone. But the asteroid did not just kill the giants. It broke the ocean from the bottom up. Dust and debris filled the sky, blocking sunlight across the planet. On land, plants died because they could not get enough light. Then the animals that ate plants began to starve. Then the predators that ate those animals began to starve too. The ocean suffered in a similar way. Tiny plankton helped form the base of the marine food chain. Many of them depended on sunlight, just like plants on land. Less sunlight meant less plankton. Less plankton meant less food for the small animals that fed on them. Then larger animals that depended on those smaller animals began to struggle. The collapse moved upward from sunlight to plankton, to fish, to predators. The asteroid did not just remove the largest animals at the top of the ocean, it damaged the food chain beneath them. Shell-building creatures disappeared in huge numbers. Ammonites, once common across prehistoric seas, vanished completely. Reefs were damaged, fish communities changed, sharks were hit too. Scientists estimate that sharks, rays, and skates lost more than half their diversity across the extinction. Many earlier forms disappeared from the fossil record, leaving behind only teeth from a world that no longer existed. But the sharks that survived entered an ocean with a missing ceiling. The biggest marine reptiles were gone. The animals that had crowded the top of the food chain were no longer controlling open water, coastlines, reefs, and carcasses the same way. As the ocean recovered, fish populations changed and expanded into the spaces left behind. More fish meant more movement. More movement meant more hunting. And with fewer giant reptiles above them, surviving sharks had room to spread. Some remained small and close to the bottom. Some moved through reefs and coastlines. Others pushed farther into open water, following the new food webs as they formed. The asteroid nearly erased huge parts of the shark world. But over millions of years, the destruction created a different ocean, one with fewer giant reptiles, changing fish populations, and open space for new animals to enter the water. Some of the first giants were not sharks at all. They were birds. Only a few million years after the dinosaurs disappeared, penguins were already experimenting with size in the southern oceans. Some grew far larger than any penguin alive today, becoming heavy, flightless hunters built for diving through a sea where the old marine reptiles were gone. Then, over millions of years, mammals began returning to the water. Early whales spread through the seas. Seals and sea lions followed their own path into coastal waters. The ocean was filling again, not with mosasaurs and plesiosaurs, but with new warm-blooded animals. For sharks, this changed the direction of the story. During the age of sea monsters, sharks survived around giants. In this new ocean, sharks began preparing to hunt them. Megalodon disappeared millions of years before humans ever stood at the edge of the sea. No sailor watched its fin cut through the water. No swimmer felt its shadow pass beneath them. No village warned its children about the giant shark beyond the waves. By the time humans began telling stories about monsters in the ocean, Megalodon was already gone. The great white was dominating shallow, warm waters and the ocean's great reefs. Along coastlines, in fishing waters, near boats, beaches, and seal colonies, humans encountered a predator built for a world beneath the surface. A large great white can still reach around 20 feet long. with a body built for sudden speed, powerful bites, and patient hunting. The great white became the shark in our imagination because it lived close enough to human life. It could appear near shore. It could pass beneath boats. It could move through the same water where people fished, swam, and crossed the sea. But the great white is not a mindless killer. It is a cautious hunter. It patrols coastlines. It follows seals and sea lions. It studies movement. It attacks from below, often using surprise instead of long chases. A failed attack wastes energy. A serious injury can become deadly. Even a powerful shark has to choose its moments carefully. Humans misunderstand that. We imagine the great white as an animal hunting people on purpose, but humans are not its normal prey. We are not seals or sea lions. We are awkward, bony, unfamiliar animals splashing at the surface. To a shark, a surfer on a board or a swimmer kicking in low visibility may create confusion. Movement, shape, sound, a shadow above, a signal in the water. Great whites often explore that confusion with their mouths. That is where the old warning comes from. Do not go into the ocean with a cut. Do not let blood reach the water. The story makes it sound simple, as if one drop of blood turns the shark into a monster. The truth is more complicated, but not less frightening. Blood alone does not make a shark hunt a human. But blood, splashing, vibration, panic, and movement can all add signals to the water. A shark that was unsure may become more interested. An exploratory bite can open a wound. More blood enters the water. More movement follows. More signals spread, and because the animal is so powerful, one mistaken investigation can become deadly before the shark ever understands what it has bitten. The great white does not need to want us. It only needs to confuse a shape in the water for something worth testing. A seal, a fish, a floating object, a surfboard, a swimmer's arm or leg. Movies turned that fear into a monster, but the real animal is reading the water with senses far older than humanity. From far away, scent and sound can matter. Closer in, vision matters. Along its body, the lateral line can detect movement and pressure changes in the water, and in the final moments, sharks can sense weak electrical signals produced by living animals. To a shark, the ocean is not empty darkness. It is information, a seal moving above, a fish turning in panic, a wounded animal struggling, a heartbeat, a muscle movement, a signal in the water. For humans, that made the great white feel almost supernatural. Not because it was hunting us across the sea, because it could sense a world we could barely understand. And when humans entered the ocean, we entered that world almost blind. And yet fear did not keep us away. It pulled us closer. The same animal people were told to fear became one of the animals they most wanted to see. We built cages so divers could lower themselves into shark water. We built aquariums so people could stand behind glass and stare into the face of something that once existed only as a shadow beneath the surface. Then we built better ways to follow them. Cameras, tracking tags, underwater drones, sonar, submersibles, steel machines that could carry us deeper than human bodies were ever meant to go. The shark became more than a threat. It became a question. How many kinds are there? Where do they go? How do they find prey in dark water? How do they cross entire oceans? How does an animal with no bones survive for hundreds of millions of years while so many giants disappear around it? Today, scientists recognize more than 500 species of sharks living in the world's oceans. Some are smaller than a human arm. Some glow in deep water. Some flatten themselves near the seafloor. Some cruise reefs. Some migrate across open oceans. Some live so deep that humans barely meet them at all. That variety is the part the monster story hides. A shark is not one animal. It is hundreds of answers to the same problem. How do you survive in water? For some, the answer is speed. For others, camouflage. For others, patience, darkness, strange senses, or living where almost nothing else can. The great white became the face of shark fear. But it is only one branch of a much larger story, and the more humans looked, the stranger sharks became. We found sharks in coral reefs, kelp forests, Arctic waters, warm coasts, open seas, and deep trenches. We learned that some migrate across ocean basins, some return to the same feeding areas, some grow slowly and live for decades, some may live far longer than that. The shark was not just an old predator with teeth. It was an entire way of being alive. And even after all that, the story is still unfinished. Because the ocean is still mostly unknown to us. For all our boats, cameras, satellites, submarines, sonar, and deep-sea machines, huge parts of the ocean remain unseen by human eyes. There may be shark species we have never found, behaviors we have never filmed, migrations we have never tracked, nurseries no person has ever discovered. Entire lives unfolding in darkness below the reach of our cameras. Sharks have lived in that world for more than 400 million years. Humans have only begun to look inside it. But fascination brought a new kind of contact. The more humans wanted to see sharks, study sharks, film sharks, catch sharks, and display sharks, the more we entered places sharks once had mostly to themselves. Even aquariums revealed the limit of our control. Many sharks can be kept behind glass, but the great white resisted captivity almost completely. The shark that seemed so simple in movies turned out to be almost impossible to contain. A great white is not built for our boxes. It is built for distance, motion, depth, migration, and open water, and yet humans kept reaching farther. Fishing fleets moved across oceans, sonar searched below the surface, submarines, remotely operated vehicles, and deep-sea cameras pushed human sight into places that had once been darkness. Technology did not make us belong in the ocean, but it made us harder for the ocean to avoid. We were no longer just swimmers at the surface. We were visitors everywhere. And for sharks, that meant the one animal that feared them most was now also the animal most capable of finding them. For hundreds of millions of years, sharks survived because the ocean was vast enough for them to change with it. When giant reptiles ruled the open water, sharks found the reefs, the coastlines, the seafloors, and the edges. When the asteroid broke the food chain, some vanished, but others survived into the ocean that came after. When new giants appeared, one branch grew large enough to hunt them. When Megalodon became too specialized for a changing sea, smaller sharks continued. Again and again the ocean changed. Again and again sharks found space. But the modern ocean is different because human pressure reaches almost everywhere. A shark can be far from land and still meet a hook. It can swim deep and still meet a net. It can live near a reef and lose the reef. It can follow prey into warming water and find the prey has moved, the nursery has changed, or the coastline has filled with boats, noise, pollution, and fishing gear. The ocean is still enormous. But it is no longer empty of us. That is the strange ending to the shark story. Humans began by fearing sharks because the ocean made us feel powerless. Then we became powerful enough to change the ocean itself. We warmed it, fished it, mapped it, crossed it, filmed it, drilled into it, filled parts of it with noise and plastic, reached into its depths with machines, and in doing so, we made life harder for animals that had survived almost everything nature had ever sent against them. Sharks are not helpless. They are still predators. They still bite. They still kill. They still belong to a food chain older than language, civilization, and every human story about monsters in the sea. But they are not villains. They are survivors. A body built for movement. A mouth that can repair itself. Senses tuned to a world we can barely read. That design carried sharks through armored fish, giant reptiles, collapsing food chains, Changing climates, giant penguins, early whales, marine mammals, Megalodon, and the rise of humans. Then humans arrived late in the story and saw the fin before we saw the history. We saw the teeth before we saw the survivor. We saw the shadow beneath us and forgot that the ocean was never ours to begin with. Maybe that is why sharks still hold our attention. They remind us that the planet is not fully domesticated. The ocean is not a road, a backyard, or a swimming pool. The surface is only the thin place where our world touches something older, deeper, and less concerned with us. When we enter the water, we feel small. We feel exposed. We feel what it means to step into a world where humans are not the best designed animal there. Somewhere beneath that surface, the old shape is still moving, not as a monster, as a survivor. Sharks were here before us. They survived ancient worlds we will never see, and they still live in worlds we have never visited. Despite all our technology, all our machines, and all our confidence, humans have still explored only about 20% of the world's oceans. Somewhere in the remaining darkness, there may still be sharks waiting to meet humans for the first time.